live because we're going to still be at the European Championships in Scotland, aren't Joshua? So it's great to see what's
No party
happening.
there.
No party in Glasgow today, unfortunately, which ain't great. There we go. So whilst I get everything set up, recording is in progress. There we go, everyone. We are back again for another fantastic conversation on Friday Night Counter Attack. We're here for a live reaction to Scotland versus Hungary and Germany versus Switzerland. And there's so much to go into regarding the Scotland game, regarding the Germany game. I thought, you know what, we have to break it down. But there's something that I have to do first. I have to introduce our special guest today. Joshua Adudonkor, football commentator. It's great to have you on the podcast, my friend. The live stream, I should say. And let me hit your first initial thoughts to Scott McTominay going home early, onto pre-season early, linking up with Eric Ten Hag early, because Scotland are out, which is crazy to think about because I predicted them to be one of the best third place teams to go through the group stages. What's your thoughts, Joshua?
Major missed opportunity, especially how the game went. I think they did really well to get themselves in the position to take it to the final game. I thought they played against a very strong Switzerland side. Knowing the history of their nation in terms of never progressing into the knockout stage the last 14 times in the Euros, to take on Hungary, who've been lackluster. They were poor against Switzerland, I felt, in terms of their game management, quite toothless against a strong, well-drilled side against Germany, and you expect it to be a real dogfight in Stuttgart. And if you ask any Scotland supporter, last day, last game, Hungary, you win, you get to the knockout stages. We have a chance of finishing those top third place places. You'll snap their hand to do it. So I
Absolutely.
think going into the game, you expect them to be competitive. I think the real disappointment for the tournament from a Scotland perspective will be Shankland, lots of goals for his football club, not getting a lot of game time especially in that Switzerland game. Where obviously they took the lead. It was a deflected goal by Scott McTominay, of course, the player that you mentioned. To lose in that manner is very difficult. I know we'll go further into the match. I know you watched it a bit more than me, but the last 10 minutes were ferocious, fast, and furious, and both teams going for it. They got caught on the counter attack. The real problem would be is that they'll win the game. I think that's progress in the sense that that's what you want. You're looking at that third game, you're looking at that group, and you're saying to yourself, play Germany first. 4 points. 4 points has always been on Steve Clarke, the manager of Scotland's mind. 4 points, 4 points. You've got 1 point at Switzerland. You've got to get a victory. You've got to get a win. If you can't get a win at a group stage, you're in trouble. 3 points, especially now with the four, sorry, third place teams that qualify. You need a win. You can't go through three draws. Those days are gone. You need to have you need to have a victory at least. And from a Scotland perspective, it's disappointing to lose in that manner. I mean, the result will hurt the way it did, but if they drew, they'll be out anyway. So what's the difference? But the fans are amazing. They're passionate. But from a playing squad level, I think you have to be given a bit more because they did so well. Victories over Spain and qualifying at Hampden Park, to qualify in that group, it was a real achievement. But if you dealt a tough hand, I know we're going to discuss it a bit more. Hamza, in terms of like the group they were given, it was quite difficult. But if you look across the board of the tournament, I have to say, and this is a bit of a point that's taken us away from Scotland, but the teams that in inverted commas lesser, your Georgias, Albanians, they're impressing. So Scotland, have they let themselves down in terms of because all those
100%. They've absolutely let themselves
yeah,
down.
yeah,
It's been
you
really
know
bad. Sorry, I'll let you go on a tandem there because I was just happily letting the audience listen to you as well. But I thought for me, it was embarrassing to see how Scotland didn't put up more of a fight, more of an attacking threat today. It was very upsetting for me with the type of quality that Scotland have, and they've had so much going into this game of, oh, it's do or die, it's us versus them, this is us against the world, all these things from Scotland, and you're seeing it in their media, you're seeing it from their fans on social media, you're seeing that everywhere you're looking at it with Scotland. And just like you said, you're seeing Albania put up a fight, you're seeing Georgia put up a fight. They know what it's like to come to a tournament for the first time in so many years and value the quality. The fans did at the stadium. They were absolutely incredible. The Tartan Army were incredible. The bagpipes will go in, but the bagpipes have gone flat now, Joshua. They're going to be going home. They're going to be supporting anyone but England, as they always do at every international tournament, because Scotland never go, which is unfortunate for them to see. But when you're looking at it, Joshua, Scotland had 17 shots in total throughout the whole European Championship. And that's the fewest of any nation in any group stage since Northern Ireland at Euro 2016. And that's what happens when you're playing Shea Adams up front. Shea Adams,
Mm.
awful to see. I know he's a championship backup championship striker for Southampton, who's now in the Premier League, which is great for Southampton. But Shea Adams is not doing himself any favors in terms of trying to get a new contract or staying at the club going forward. They conceded the most goals in seven, the fewest chances created from open play in 10, fewest shots on target the whole tournament in three, and if Salim was listening to this, fewest XG as well. But I'm looking at it and I'm really thinking there was a very, very big moment for Scotland where they could have had a penalty. The whole of the BBC the panel were like, "Oh yeah, it should have been a penalty." The defender, I think Willie Orban went into the knee. He kneed into Stuart Armstrong, the substitute who came on, and VAR didn't even go to check, which I thought was very unfortunate to see what happened with that because VAR have been on point this season in the European Championship, except for probably the Anthony Taylor incident as well, which ain't great at all. But I'm looking at Joshua and I'm thinking, you know what? There's much more to come from Hungary because Hungary, they were parking the bus the whole 110 minutes that they played, however long it was. It was embarrassing to think about. But they got the goal in the end. They brought in their big man striker Adam, and they got a goal in the last minute, which was great for Hungary. Now we just got to wait and see if Kevin Shabash's goal is actually the winning goal moving forward, because I don't think that 3 points will be enough for being four of the qualifiers from the third place finishes. What do you think about that, Joshua? I know I went through a lot, but in terms of the third place finishes, do you think 3 points is enough?
Oh, it might just be. I mean, it's tight in Belgium's group, isn't it? They're all on three. It's the first time ever. They're all on 3 points. So you'd imagine that get two wins. If there's a draw of 2 on 4, that's automatically more than Hungary already. So
Mm,
that's it. It's looking quite tight. I think potentially yes. Poland's group with France. France have won the group. Poland are out. Then you've got
Austria.
Austria, yeah, Netherlands. Can Austria do? It's Austria against Netherlands, aren't they? If Netherlands beat them, so I think potentially, but the chances are a bit slimmer than it would be traditionally at a tournament where you finish third. If you look at the African Cup of Nations, for example, Ivory Coast finished 3 points, won the tournament. I think it's
Sacked their
possible. They
manager
need,
halfway through too,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe something England could do. Anyways, that's for later.
later on.
But with Hungary, I mean, they only could have got 3 points, of course, after the two defeats in their first two games. So, for their perspective, it's kind of hit and hope. And every game is important. It's obviously obvious, but you have to get points as you can. I think they might just have enough. They might just have enough to stay up. To be honest, their goal difference isn't too bad as well compared to other nations as well. So I think Scotland Hungary, it was a shootout.
Yes.
I know Scotland had a point as well. 4 points was juicy. 4 points was very strong. Obviously, Scotland had an issue with the goal difference because of the opener in Munich. But yeah, to answer your question, I think Hungary, yeah, I would say 25%. Just depends, isn't it? Depends on you're looking at that Belgium group, especially how that fails. England's groups are through for everybody in England's group can qualify as well in Group C. So yeah, I think it's still open season, I'd say.
I think it's painful. I'm looking at it and I wouldn't want to be one of those teams in third place position as well. So one team that definitely avoided a third place position today was Switzerland versus Germany. But before we get onto the Switzerland and Germany game, just with the Scotland situation as well, I'm looking at how Scotland, they had such a great run to this tournament. Remember beating Spain 2-0 at Hampden Park as well. It would have been incredible to see how Scotland could have developed with this team. They had Andy Robertson, who's a captain, one of the best left backs in the Premier League for last 6, 7 years now at Liverpool Football Club. Scott McTominay, who's been Scott McClutch Tominay for what he's done over the years at Manchester United. Kieran Tierney was injured. My question to you is, do you think Scotland just didn't have that strength and depth? Because they had a few injuries before the tournament. Ben Doak didn't make it, the young Liverpool youngster as well. Do you think that's really what cost them up front? Because for me, like I said earlier in the show, Che Adams is not an international striker that's going to be banging in 5, 10, 15 goals for Scotland at these international tournaments. He's not going to be dragging them over the line. What do you think, Joshua?
There is a lack of quality, clearly, isn't it, across the squad? I
Mm.
think Scotland, one of those nations who have a huge passion for football. But being in the British Isles, the youngsters that do turn up, they look to go to play their football in England. Obviously, not necessarily playing for the English national side, but you do lose that development and you do get a gap. So you get a team like someone like Andy Robertson who plays in the Champions League, although Liverpool didn't play last year, but he's a Champions League winner. And you've got players you're playing in the Championship, some players, playing the Scottish League. So I think yes, still missing players coming to the tournament due to injuries. But I think for them also it's about belief. I think it's also about having the opportunity to go for it. I didn't watch the game tonight, as you know, 'cause I was doing the Germany-Switzerland game. But they had
Mm,
moments. Armstrong there, that could be a penalty and they score. It's not as far as you think. For a nation like Scotland, based on their history, a knockout round appearance is a huge achievement. But there is a quality gap. As you mentioned, Che Adams, he's somebody who been informed like that, for Southampton. He's not been informed when he comes to the Premier League, doesn't look like he looks settled in that division. So when you're going across that into Euro 2024, you go to Euro Championships, you need that quality. But as I said to you before, there's so many other nations like Scotland in this tournament. Look at Georgia, the way they've applied themselves in this game. Even Poland, even if Poland are out, the way they applied themselves against Austria, they still showed a progressive attacking a play and display when they showed. Can Scotland honestly say they left everything on the table offensively? I don't think they can. I personally, talk about no XG against Germany. And you could say, yes, Germany, the host opening night. I did a Switzerland game to them. We're going to get to that in a second. Might maybe quite a nice link, but
mm.
you can lay a glove at, it's football. You can lay gloves at people. It's not like just because you're inferior,
Like
you
Scotland
can't.
aren't San Marino. Scotland aren't
Yeah, yeah,
Liechtenstein. They
that's
beat
yeah,
they
yeah,
beat Israel in the
yeah,
last minute at
yeah,
Hampden Park. They beat Spain 2-0. They've
yeah,
done big things in qualification. They did big things in the last Euros to get to the last Euros as well. It's just disappointing to see that progress hasn't been made from 2021, from my point of view, from a Scottish perspective as well. I know there'll be so many fans that will be really upset as well, but it will be a good segue into the Germany versus Switzerland game. Finished 1-1 in that game. Talk to me, Joshua. Who impressed you the most? Because I want to hear a bit more about how Germany defended in this game because they conceded the first goal for the first time as well this tournament. How did you find that? As in, like, they conceded first in their game because Antonio Rudiger scored a goal already. Let me hear your thoughts.
yeah. It's the first time that Germany looked quite vulnerable, and the concerns going to the tournament. I think the way they played against Scotland was exciting and thrilling, and then to back up it against Hungary, coming to this game thinking, win this and or avoid defeat, and they'll win the group. But Switzerland soaked up a lot of pressure. They got a disallowed goal. Germany, Musiala was penalised for a foul. Um,
Hmm.
on a defend on A Bisher. A really good effort edge of the box from Andrich that bounced in before Jan Sommer. And the first time that Switzerland had a shot on target, they scored first international goal for Ndoye. Lovely ball from Fröhler in the box, left-footed past Neuer. And I have to be honest, Hamza for 60 minutes, Germany had no answer.
Seriously.
You have your Croatian wizards, Idverts and Musiala,
Hmm.
but they were struggling to find those clear opportunities. Havertz had a number of set piece headers go over the bar. And then Nagelsmann, as he always does, tinkers and change. He brings Sane on, he brings Froberg on, keeps Gundogan and Havertz on. And the equaliser comes through Froberg. It's a wonderful ball. Actually, I should mention that Ram comes
Paul
on
Krug.
from, yeah, oh, wonderful header. It's a gorgeous ball from Ram, a real
Hmm.
throwback of a fullback who, 4 or 5 years ago was right top of his game, left footed, right on the money, makes it 1-1. And that's the beauty of Germany. I think that's a good example of why you can't rule them out and why they are, in the favourites list because they might not be performing to their maximum, but all you need is a bit of quality between two players, two substitutes. I mean, for God's sake, they took Musiala and Verts off. They bring in Frokog and Ram. They've gone direct. They go direct. They find joy. But I tell you what, you asked me the question, who impressed me? I have to say Switzerland did. Their formation nullified Germany, lack of ideas. And you say really there because yeah, you're looking at Musiala, you're looking at Verts, you're looking at Havertz. Um, Little switch. Gundogan was leading the line tonight.
Yes.
Havertz was off the right, and I like that. He was, the
Gundogan
areas he was
false
getting.
nine or actual nine?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Well, he was every time Germany went forward in the first 60 minutes, the last man was Gondor. It
Hmm.
wasn't like he was going deeper. When Furco came on, Gondor partnered Kroos because Andrić could come off. And for Bayer, who plays for Hoffenheim, he came on as well.
Yeah.
So that was quite exciting. So you're seeing the flexibility of Nagelsmann and why Germany are a real threat. And in a weird way, I kind of rate Germany a bit more, rather than a victory, convincing victory against Scotland and Hungary. The fact they were able to react and right at the end, get that goal in Frankfurt to them to win the group. But Switzerland, for example, they're a strange side, aren't they? They're able to knock out World Cup winners at the time in Euro 2021, draw to Scotland midweek and look quite lackluster. A really nice goal from Shaqiri. But tonight they had a really good formation. And I think the thing I left with that, yes, Germany impressed me, but if you have a system to a T, you can nullify a German Nagelsmann side.
So tell me, because I didn't watch the game as well, there was a second goal for Switzerland as well. Was that ruled off because of offside or? Yeah.
Yeah, it was offside. Vargas came off the bench. He made a triple substitution.
Mm.
Amadini, Vargas, and Dua came on for Mbolo and Doan and Rida. It was a slip ball through because Germany were getting desperate, of course, because listen, they didn't win that game, they would finish second, and that puts you in a side of a draw, especially as host, where you don't want to be and not what you've planned to be, especially after the first two games. But it was offside, clearly, yeah. Really cool finish.
That's
Um,
fine.
so yeah.
Not so yeah, ask me questions, Joshua. Come on now. This is your show now. Can't be have I can't have my evenings just spent up just listening to you all the time. Ask me questions, talk to me about
With
something, give me something juicy so I can talk about it as well,
but
Joshua.
really, what's quite
I'm the one coming up with the good questions here for you, man. Come on.
what's really interesting.
Show why you're in football media and why I'm not in football media. Just that. Let's go.
I'll tell you what's interesting. And Argusman didn't rest any four players that were on a yellow card tonight, and one got booked in Jonathan Tah, so he misses the last 16 game, and Soderbergh came in. But I want to talk about his partner Antonio Rudiger and his influence and his importance to this German side. He had a yellow card as well. So yeah, take the floor. Just I feel for him. He carried a few knocks. He had cramp in the goal celebration. How important is he to Germany for you? I mean, we know his quality for Real Madrid at a club level, but for Germany to go deep in this tournament, what just makes him so good?
Do you know what I find funny is the fact that Rudiger wasn't really running properly for that second goal. That's what I was kind of alluding it to as well, because he runs with his legs really high instead of running like a sprinter. So that's why he wasn't. Undo would have been offside for that one as well. But it's really crazy to see that Antonio Rudiger continues to be the number one defender for Germany. The fact that he's got such a strong presence at the back. The reason why Rudiger does so well for Germany is because he has that pace about him. He's so dependable. But the way I'm looking at it with Antonio Rudiger as well, even if he did get that yellow card, if you're looking at them, they're finished top of the group. So they've got 1A are playing 2C. So if England finish second in their group, we could be playing Germany in the round of 16 and that could be very, very tasty. But for Jonathan Tah to be the one that actually is the one out, I don't mind it at all because you've got a big strength and depth. Mats Hummel should have gone to the tournament, like I said, but it's not there. So Schlotterbeck's gonna have to go in. Robin Koch isn't the one that I'm going to be looking for as well. But the one thing I enjoy about Antonio Rudiger is he has now become one of the best centre backs in the world for me. Top five centre backs in the world. The way that you've looked at him play at Chelsea in a back three, to them him developing at Real Madrid, winning the Champions League at Real Madrid as well as at Chelsea, it goes to show that he's now a serial winner after having such a poor time at Chelsea in that first season or first season and a half. Now you're looking at him being Mr. Dependable at the back for Germany. Depends if they're going to have Schlotterbeck for that left-footed angles for passing as well. The way I see it, Joshua, I want to see more of Antonio Rudiger in the box. I want to see more of his box defending as well, because for him to go to Real Madrid on a free transfer, that was a very, very big call as well for Chelsea to leave him on a free. And he's done really well since then as well. But internationally, he may be one of the best centre backs in the tournament for me, Antonio Rudiger. He's impressed, he's lived up to his expectation as well. And in fairness to him, he's actually just dealt with what's actually in front of him. Scotland, not much. He actually helped them by scoring an own goal. When you're looking at him against Hungary, didn't really have to deal with much either. Not much threat going forward. How is Antonio Rudiger going to deal with when there's a striker who's going to be just as physical, just as quick as him? We're not really going to see many of those mashups in the European Championships. And I think that's where Germany will be having a big advantage, which allows them to be a lot more free in the final third and in the middle third as well, especially midfield, giving Tony Kroos that freedom to dictate as well. What would you say about that?
Yeah, I'd agree to that. I think he had a fine second half. First half was a bit ragged. There was actually a chance where Ndoye broke through to get a second opportunity to get a second goal. It just went past Manuel Neuer's penalty box. When Germany were getting a bit nervous, you can feel it in the crowd because they were expected to win 3 out of 3. Rudiger was the last line defense, intercepting really well, being aggressive, being on the front foot. And we've seen this at Real Madrid. His final ball also to start attacks, really good. Throwing him in the channels for Gundogan to run in, for Havertz to run in. And I do agree. Look at the centre backs that we have across the tournament. He's right up there. And I do think Germany can lean on that. He won't have the challenge of playing against world class centre forwards, but also he can play a little bit, and he has that experience. He is a winner. Now look at that side: Gundogan, Kroos, Klose, and Rudiger Noah. That's a spine of winners. Maybe Havertz there he hasn't obviously picked up the titles he would like. He's obviously won the Champions League, but you have a spine of winning. And Germany, after going out of the Euros 3 years ago, maybe was lacking that a little bit. There is that belief, there is that hunger, there is that um,
But
a
for you,
player
do you think
who
he's world class as a centre back? Would you class him
I
as a
do
world
think as
class
well.
modern centre back?
I think he is a world class centre back
Nice.
comfortably because he can do. He's all action. He's in both boxes. You know, he's a threat going forward. He's a threat at the back. He's not scared to put his head where it hurts. He reads the game so well. When he gets beat, his recovery is brilliant as well. He's top. He's definitely top. And to be credit to him, I think his levels at Madrid have stayed consistent. At Chelsea, at times, I think it helped playing in a back three.
Yep.
And it was a question: could he play in a back two? He's been able to show he can do that, and especially with
Easy.
Real Madrid, and with Militao who was out injured for a huge period of time, he stepped up the mantle. So yeah, I think Rudiger is top world class defender, and I think you're correct. If he was to pick up the yellow card over Jonathan Tah, you're probably thinking, what's a big blow? Jonathan Tah being out, you kind of say, look, they're able to fill that position. It's not a blow.
That's all good. Right, we're going to move on from Germany and we're going straight to England to finish off our conversation. Probably 5, 10 minutes left on the topic as well. Joshua, let's not bore the audience any soon because I want to hear our joint. We're going to have a joint England starting 11 prediction because there are some changes that for me need to be made. And I'm looking at it thinking that everyone's in the media's going, Declan Rice is going, yes, absolutely fine. Jordan Pickford saying, yeah, go to the pubs and enjoy. Harry Kane saying the ex-players should be helping us. It's very, oh, you're upsetting me, stop upsetting me type vibe for England. And for me, it's really insulting to see that as a fan because Gareth Southgate should be taking more of this than the players do, actually, because the players have been dealing with this for so many years. They are incredible players, world-class players, and we've seen that time and time and time again, but for their clubs. We get people saying, why is Phil Foden not balling out? Because it's Phil Foden for England. We're looking at why Jude Bellingham can't score clutch goals every single day like he does for Real Madrid because he's playing for England. And now you're looking at it thinking, how do England get the best of this side? And before we get onto our predicted 11 and our joint predicted 11 for England, it's more along the lines of what happened back in the last Euros when Foden started the first two games and he wasn't reliable. They took him out of the squad, the starting lineup, and he was barely a substitute in those other games going forward. He was a substitute, I think, in the semi-finals. But you're looking at this, Joshua, and there's not as much variety for me as we had in 2021. There's no Rashford, there's no Sancho, there's no Grealish to rely upon. In this one, we've got three right wingers, we've got two decent left wingers, and we're not sure where we're going to play Bellingham. We're not sure where we're going to play Foden. For a starting 11, a joint starting 11, let's work this out, Joshua. So back to
Yeah.
front. Remember, ask me questions as well. We don't want to be going through this of, oh yeah, 1 to 11. We're going to go through it properly. So goalkeeper Jordan Pickford, I think we're happy with that. Back four, any changes for you?
No, I think it's been the best component of England's
Mm.
tournament so far. I think expected Trippier struggled in periods of the game, but I think Mate Gay, he's been excellent. John Stones, our strongest defender. He's been at a level you'd expect him to be at. And I'm also impressed with Kyle Walker. I don't know about you, but I think we've scored goals in moments, and that obviously we saw that against Denmark, him latching on,
Well, both the
and with
goals
the
have come from
assist.
our right-hand side, and
Yeah.
it's from Kyle Walker's build-up play, which people don't seem to appreciate as well. And there's more from Kyle Walker that can come to the England nationals team, but the way I'm looking at it, I still want to see the best out of Trent. I don't know where we're going to see the best out of Trent from as well. Kyle Walker will be reliable at right back. We know that for sure. I'm not sure Gareth Southgate will rotate it because he still wants to get this performance right as well, Joshua. So for me, I forgot to throw the boy out there. Bobby Mainoo. Does he get into this team for you? Does he start for you?
He does. He does start for me.
Mm.
You want to remove your Man United hat, you naturally do. But he's everything that this England team is crying out for. Someone to pick the ball up from the back, someone
We've
to
seen
progress it.
Pirlo go to Italy and shine. We've seen Xavi go to Spain and shine. Busquets go to Spain and shine. We've seen it time and time and time again. They don't call him the Stockport Stado for nothing because he actually can
Mhm.
ball from deep line midfield roles. He can ball from between the centre backs. He takes the ball into positions where no one else can go. And he doesn't look like a rabbit in headlights when he's surrounded by pressure. And that's what Declan Rice and Kobbie Mainoo can work together with going forward. But do you then put Jude Bellingham still at number 10? Do you bring it back to number 8? What's your thoughts on this, Joshua? Let me hear it.
That's the tricky one, isn't it? I think
Mm.
you want to play Jude in 10 because and forced in because he's played in that false nine position for Rome, which has been influential. But we saw against Denmark, he was useless, and his best moments came a bit deeper. He was able
Mm.
to give the ball to Ollie Watkins. A part of me does want to drop him as an eight and to play with Rice because I think Rice needs better protection because I think Jude can get quite dirty and win the ball back also. I think we're heavily reliant on Rice to have those games where he's playing at 8 out of 10s. It's not going to happen if we're going to progress in the tournament. I do think we need to move Jude deep as much as I would, put Kobe Mainoo in. But I'll be honest, I wouldn't put Foden in the 10 because that's what most people want. Who
Yeah, they
I
want
don't know
to see
about
the
you.
best out of Phil
He's just
Foden, but we can't have Phil Foden in this team because it just doesn't work. And we've seen with other teams, they don't always play their best players all the time because they need the best team. And I was saying before the tournament, Anthony Gordon needs to start to allow the best out of Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham. We need pace on both wings. That's what Gareth Southgate reluctantly chooses not to do time and time and time again. Rashford and Saka would have been great for England. Sterling and Saka have been great for England. But the way I'm looking at it now, Anthony Gordon may be England's saviour for this game coming up against Slovenia. He may not start, but he needs to be someone who can stretch the play. And we saw that not in a great manner against Iceland, but we still saw that nevertheless against Iceland as well. So let's solidify the base of our midfield. Declan Rice and who? Who are we going to go with?
I would go Jude. I
Jude
would go
and
Jude.
Declan Rice.
Yeah, I would do
Okay.
so. Yeah, I
People
think
seem
I
to
think yeah.
forget Bellingham is actually a 22 for a reason. Number 22 at Borussia Dortmund because he can play as a 4, as an 8, and as a 10. So the fact that we want to see the most of Jude Bellingham, it doesn't mean that he's going to have to be half the player he is because of not scoring as many goals. He can still deliver an incredible performance in centre midfield. He can still relieve pressure off John Stones and Mark He bring them 10, 15 yards up the pitch. He can allow Kyle Walker to be a bit more free on that right wing going forward. The way I'm looking at it now, I mean, you're looking at someone who has the levels to become one of the best midfielders in the world. But I know we've seen this previously with another midfielder, Paul Pogba. We've seen it with Paul Pogba for
Mm.
Manchester United. He's got such a dynamic range on him. He can be any type of midfielder. You don't want to peg him into one type of midfielder. But Joshua, this is where we get into the nitty-gritty, the three behind Harry Kane, because for me, Harry Kane can't be dropped. I've seen a big agenda against the England captain this week. It's been very, very embarrassing for me to see England's all-time leading goal scorer. For people to then go out and say on their social media platforms, on their podcasts, on their YouTube channels, in the media, in the mainstream print, drop Harry Kane for Ollie Watkins. It's Harry Kane. It's Harry Kane. It's the best striker potentially England have had in a generation. And you're looking at it thinking you need to get the best out of your best players. And the best player for me in this team is Harry Kane. Harry Kane is world class. Harry Kane has got that capability to get a goal out of nothing in the 18-yard box, in and around the 18-yard box. He can create. And for people to make him the scapegoat, for me, it doesn't sit well. It doesn't run with me because I'm looking at it and I'm thinking it's really, really embarrassing to see Harry Kane not having to do his natural game. You want to see him do his natural game, but so is Foden and so is Bellingham. And we spoke about this week, Joshua, when we watched the game as well. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I don't understand the. I was quite baffled to read the reaction after watching the game against Denmark at Frankfurt. 1-1 second group game, and Harry Kane was the issue. I don't get that. Harry Kane
Mm,
has to start for England. I don't see that. I don't understand that kind of dialogue. Can he press the ball? Probably. Yeah. Has he scored 64 goals for England? Yes. Has anybody ever scored more goals for England? Anyone? No. England. Harry Kane. He became the third person to score in four consecutive tournaments following Fran Kirby for the women's side and Michael Owen. He's an exceptional striker for England, and he has
mm.
to start. He's our captain. Just to answer your question in terms of the three behind, I'd go Cole Palmer 10, and
Really?
I'll go Gordon left, and
You
obviously
start Cole
Saka right.
Palmer, number
Yes,
10
I
versus
would.
Slovenia. Let's hear it.
I would do it. Those two players, Bowen, Eze, Watkins, those three players that came onto the field, they have had really good seasons.
Yeah.
Naturally, you would say they're not better footballers in their positions than someone like a Marcus Rashford, the experience of Sterling, Grealish, or Madison. But you understand why he's taken them. He's taken those three players, and he's also taken Palmer and Gordon, who've been excellent. But I also
Yeah.
believe Palmer and Gordon, they're quite creative players who
The
probably
thing
their
with
levels
Palmer
of.
and Gordon as well, when you're looking at Anthony Gordon and Cole Palmer, Joshua, is the fact they both won an international trophy with England last summer. They
Gosh,
have
yeah, yeah,
tournament
yeah, yeah,
experience. They've
yeah,
done it.
yeah,
They've
yeah,
been
yeah,
there.
yeah,
They know how to win.
yeah,
They've
yeah,
done it
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
hard way against Spain. And the way I'm looking at it, Joshua, is thinking Why not bring them in? They're fresh. They've had good seasons individually, both of them. They've created so many chances for both Chelsea and for Newcastle, respectively. Freshen it up. Give Saka some leeway because every single damn play for England going into attack is Saka, Saka, Saka. Then
Mm,
Saka gets subbed off against Denmark, and you're like, he should be having some more help on the pitch. And it's like that LeBron James meme all the time. There's no help for Saka. There's no help for Kane, and it's because everyone's bundled in that same position. And we saw that average position um,
yeah.
pitch map embarrassing from England as well. We need to get at people. We need to be spreading the play. We need to be showing off the talents that we actually have. And I kind of get it. I don't mind putting Cole Palmer in the number 10. I don't mind it at all because 0 minutes in this tournament, worrying for me.
Or
Very, very poor. So just to confirm, our predicted starting 11 for England versus Slovenia, Jordan Pickford in goal, back four, Kyle Walker, Mark Guehi, John Stones, and Kieran Trippier. Then we've got Kobbie Mainoo, Declan Rice with an attacking three. Same formation as Bukayo Saka, Cole Palmer, and Anthony Gordon. And then up front, we've got to go for Harry Kane, captain, leader, and potentially legend for England as well, which will be great. Right then, Joshua, this is where we end the stream. This is where we say thank you very much for a conversation. But last question for me. Germany, did you see them slipping up? Did you see Julian Nagelsmann wobble a bit today? What's your thoughts?
yeah, I think they were nullified very well by a good system.
Yeah.
For the very first time, I think it was individual quality that bailed them out. I think it was the determination of being hosts that got them through. But at the same time, where Gareth Southgate lacks, Nagelsmann gains because he looked at it after the 70-minute mark and said, look, I'm going to take my wonder kids off. I'm going to take Verts off. I'm going to take Musiala off. I'm going to go route one. I'm going to go, not route one necessarily. I'm going to go direct. I'm going to move Gundogan from that offensive position, bring him deeper and bring Ram on to bring those balls in because Froco will show me another way to score a goal. And the goal comes from the left-hand side. And it's a wonderful header. It's 13 goals now in 19 games for Froco in a German shirt. So I think
Underrated.
even though, yeah, he's really,
Absolutely
really,
underrated.
really good. And even though they struggled in the game, they didn't lose. And I felt that they that game they've gained more confidence from that result than they did over Scotland, Hungary in my
Much
performances.
tougher
Back against them.
opposition. Much
But
tougher
yeah,
opposition.
yeah, tough opposition, backs against the wall, and they didn't falter. And also, it's quite impressive where you're not relying on Musiala and Vert to get somewhere. So yeah, I think I said they impressed me already. I think they showed us some resilience. And Nagelsmann, I have to say, he's shown real flexibility and real prowess in his management at international level. He's showing his tactical ability, and he's impressing.
Remember, Nagelsmann has had that clause put into his contract where if he qualifies for the knockout stages, he's then got an extension on the contract. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of Julian Nagelsmann as the Germany manager at this time of recording as well, because I'm looking forward to seeing more of what he can bring with this young crop of amazing attacking players, Beer, Wirtz, Musiala to the German national team as well, which will be absolutely fantastic. And it's going to be great fun. But what has been great fun is our conversation. Hopefully, many more to come over the European Championships with my good friend Joshua Adudonko. Everyone, thank you very much for listening. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.